Now, it's a tight jobs market in the United States, especially for newcomers trying to find their way in. With half of last year's graduates still unemployed, the class of 2011 also appears to be facing a grim future. And with the heavy burden of thousands of dollars of student loans and no jobs to pay them off with, they're entering a vicious circle. Marina Portnaya has this story.
America is home to the world's most expensive and prestigious universities. Yet paying for them has created a nation where the majority sign on to lifetime payments of loans.
I'll probably have like $60,000 student debt.
Over like 90,000, easy. Yeah.
Does that make you nervous?
Yes, that makes me terrified.
Every American graduate is launching into a dwindling job market, saddled with at least $24,000 in student debt.
Either I'm going to land a great job or start a great company, or I'm going to be seriously in the hole.
According to the Economic Policy Institute, the U.S. economy currently has one job for every 5 applicants. Meanwhile, business for bankruptcy attorney Gennady Litvin is surging. Half of his clients are unemployed degree holders, drowning in debt.
Anyone going to college essentially is gambling. Once again, from an investor's point of view, right now, the way the dollar is, the way inflation is going up, and the way the job market is, a college education just isn't a good investment and not a good return on your money.
Even economics professors on the inside, like Richard Wolff, say enslaving students to banks is a disaster for America's economic viability.
The future of any country in the world economy these days depends first and foremost on the quality and the quantity of skilled, trained, new young workers. And the major institutions that produce that are the colleges and universities. You're pricing them out of being able to do that.
Today, a diploma no longer serves as a guaranteed passport to prosperity for Americans. In the meantime, the number of foreigners studying at U.S. colleges and universities has reached record highs. According to the latest statistics, nearly 700,000 international students have flown in from all over the world to study in America. And the majority are transplanting from America's economic competitor. According to the Institute of International Education, Chinese students studying in the States surged 30% in 2009. Most foreign families reportedly bypass financial aid and pay full tuition. Since 1978, the cost of U.S. colleges and universities has reportedly increased more than 900%, while household income rose just 150%.
What you're seeing is American universities, particularly at the elite, are happier to have foreigners who tend to pay their own way because they come from the very tops of those societies, and they will forego the Americans who can't afford it much anyway.
According to the Pew Research Center, 57% of Americans say college is not worth the price. But with a widening workforce of untrained and uneducated, many wonder what the U.S. economy will eventually be worth. Marina Portnaya, RT, New York.
Now for some bad news. The economic event that really turns life upside down in recent years has not been recession, but inflation. Only a fairly small percentage get unemployed in a downturn. Only a much smaller percentage have their homes foreclosed upon. But when serious inflation hits, it hits almost everyone. It started this time with industrial commodities, which have now risen spectacularly after their lows in 2008 and 2009. The rise has largely been fed by demand from the Far East. This is the proverbial butterfly's wings that started a typhoon. Then came agricultural commodities, again pulled up by demand from China. Now we're getting serious crop shortfalls in China. U.S. crop forecasts are also disappointing, and there are huge crop problems in Australia, South America, and Russia. Corn, wheat, rice, and other foodstuff prices are just going wild. And as we all know, gold and silver have had an amazing rise, although a recent pullback. But most important of all, the Fed is just shoving money out the door as fast as it can, creating piles of cash in banks. So far, the banks are mostly hoarding that money, which we don't like because it doesn't help the recovery. But if the banks ever start lending that money and the recovery begins in a big way, the pieces will be in place for serious inflation. It may happen even without the banks opening their vaults. Food prices at the grocery store are astronomical. Gasoline has shot up. Airfares are up. We used to think we could not have high unemployment and high inflation at the same time. The experience of the late 70s and early 80s showed that's not the case. It even has a name, stagflation. This causes political and economic stress. Rising prices were major causes of the recent unrest in Egypt. Now it sure looks as if it's going to get worse, and it could be serious here too. I'm not predicting it in a big way here. I'm just saying the tea leaves are ominous, and if it comes, it won't be pretty. Once it starts, inflation is incredibly painful to stop without stopping the recovery too. I told you it was bad news.
Do you have any food reserves in your home right now? How long could you provide food for your family if the food supply was cut off? A month? A week? 3 days? Wouldn't you feel better if you had the necessary reserves? Have you ever noticed that the more advanced we get, the less prepared we are? Many things that defined life only 100 years ago are so convenient today that we don't really think about what would happen if that convenience were gone.